An anti-communist tweet that came from Health Canada's Twitter account sent alarm bells and panicked emails all the way up to the health minister's office. So to be clear, while the Chinese Communist government is committing genocide against the Uyghurs and carving up the Falun Gong for their organs and imprisoning Christian pastors and rewriting the Bible, Health Canada was mostly concerned about not hurting any communist feelings. On Monday, the entire Liberal cabinet sat out of a vote to declare what is happening to the Uyghur ethnic and religious minority in China to be a genocide. Marc Garneau specifically abstained from the vote. Now, all of this is very strange coming from the Liberals, considering their leader, Justin Trudeau, called Canada, the country he leads, a genocidal state for the government's treatment of Canada's First Nations.
The tragic violence that Indigenous women and girls have experienced amounts to genocide.
Now, getting back to the Uyghurs, though, they are indeed subject to re-education, removal of their children who are then sent to residential schools to unlearn their language and culture. The women are subject to forced sterilization. There's forced renaming to strip them of their Muslim identities. There's forced incarceration at labor camps, making products for Western companies like Nike. What's happening to the Uyghurs is indeed a genocide. And the Uyghurs are not the only ethnic or religious minority facing persecution at the hands of the communist Chinese state. Christians, as you know, are having their Bibles rewritten to make Christians loyal to the state above their God. And Falun Gong practitioners are subject to organ harvesting. Now, back in September, there appeared to be a glimmer of hope within the federal government. It seemed there was a rebellious, faceless bureaucrat at Health Canada who was anti-communist China and pro-Falun Gong, or at least pro-human rights, because the official Health Canada Twitter account retweeted a pro-Falun Gong message that also told China to go fornicate itself. We wanted to know more about how that tweet came to be naturally. So we asked for copies of all documents, including emails, text messages, instant messages, Slack messages, WhatsApp messages, any briefing notes, memos, reports, and media lines regarding Health Canada's Twitter account retweet and then removing retweets for certain tweets and videos as described here. And then we linked to Spencer Fernando's article on the subject. Now let's take a look at that Spencer Fernando story, because first of all, I'm a Spencer Fernando fan, and this is a crazy story. Look at this. In an interesting retweet, Health Canada's official Twitter account retweeted a tweet that says, FUCK CCP and take down the CCP. Is it a mistake? Or is someone sending a message? While the Trudeau government has been pathetically weak towards China, it seems someone at Health Canada is taking a different approach. Update. As expected, Health Canada removed the retweet. Well, friends, now we know more about that story and the tweet. The complaint about the anti-CCP tweet came from, this is unsurprising, within the federal government. Look at this on page 1. Justice officials are sending high importance emails raising concerns about that tweet. Now, this is from Greg Smith at the Justice Department. He's a systems librarian, so, a run-of-the-mill bureaucrat. And this is the email that he fired off to Health Canada, warning them that they might accidentally have an independent free thinker in their midst. Look at this. Urgent. Are you aware that the Government of Canada Health Twitter account has retweeted what appears to be a Falun Gong anti-Chinese Communist Party video? Screenshot below attached. At the time of this email, the retweet is still posted to the Twitter account. Perhaps this was an error by someone with access to the account, but I'm also writing so that you can ascertain if the account in question is compromised. Now on page 3, look at this. They say it was an accident by a new staff member and the retweet was removed. And we can also see that the bureaucrats are becoming moderately annoyed that people are starting to notice that there might be an individual within all of Health Canada that is not drinking that sweet Chinese communist Kool-Aid. Look at this. Unfortunately, now there's an article covering the retweet with a screenshot and then the bureaucrats link to a Westphalian Times story. On page 6, we can see that the panic about a staffer actually behaving like a good and decent, normal Canadian that doesn't like the Chinese communist authoritarian government and its constant human rights abuses, all this sent chills all the way up into the health minister's office. Look at this. We have determined that it was human error and the appropriate measures and training are being enforced to ensure the situation doesn't happen again. Oh, you mean you're going to re-educate them? Yeah, we wouldn't want anybody not liking the evil Chinese communist government working for the Canadian federal government now, would we? And to be clear, that health minister is Health Minister Patty Hajdu, the one who told us it was racist to close the borders and racist to call a virus from Wuhan the Wuhan virus, for those of you keeping track at home. What a strange time to be alive. Now, you can see here the social media team is also ready just in case they get calls on the subject of this video. And I assume those calls that spook them might be from the Chinese Communist state, because we know the mainstream media wasn't going to be worried about any of this. On page 11, we can see that despite their accident, human error, official talking points, these bureaucrats really don't know what happened here. Look at this. Don't want to single out anyone, but wish someone would just own up to it so we know. And things just seem to be so relaxed around the social media accounts in the health department that on page 13 we see, quote, that there's no way to tell who really sent the tweet. High security down there at Health Canada. We may never know who this brave bureaucrat with a Twitter account password at Health Canada was, but here at Rebel News, we salute you for your bravery and your solid trolling. For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. The Chinese Communist government is one of the most prolific human rights abusers to have ever existed on the face of the earth. And right now, 2 Canadians are suffering, languishing in a Chinese prison, kidnapped in retaliation for the lawful arrest of Huawei executive Meng Wanzhou. We've hired a top human rights lawyer to take the case of those 2 Canadians all the way to the United Nations to see our plan to do just that and to help us. Please visit freethetwomichaels.com.